Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about something that may seem far too simple to deserve serious attention. Many people might hear today's topic and think, what new can possibly be said about water? We already know drinking water is good for us. But that apparent simplicity is exactly why this habit is so underestimated, especially when we're talking about older adults living with diabetes. When someone is diagnosed with diabetes, most of their attention naturally goes to the obvious things: medications, insulin, blood sugar levels, food choices, restrictions, and medical tests. And that makes perfect sense because diabetes truly does require discipline. But very often, hidden behind all those important concerns is something the body simply cannot function well without: enough water. And today, as a doctor, I want to explain clearly, calmly, and in a way that's easy to understand why water is not just a drink, not just a routine, but an essential part of daily healthcare for elderly people with diabetes. Let's start with the basics. What actually happens in the body when blood sugar rises? When glucose levels become too high, the body tries to protect itself. One of the main ways it does that is through the kidneys. The kidneys work to remove excess sugar through urine. At first, that may sound like a good thing. The body is getting rid of extra glucose. But there's an important detail many people overlook. When sugar leaves the body this way, water goes with it. That means the body starts losing fluid faster than normal. This is why high blood sugar often comes with increased thirst, dry mouth, and more frequent urination. So it's not just about discomfort. It's not just about needing the bathroom more often. It's about the body losing water more quickly. And if that water isn't replaced, dehydration can develop. And this is where a dangerous cycle can begin. Higher blood sugar leads to more fluid loss. More fluid loss can make the blood more concentrated. The body then has a harder time maintaining balance, which can worsen overall health and make diabetes management more difficult. Now imagine this isn't happening in a younger person, but in an older adult. Aging changes the body in many ways, and one of those changes is that the sense of thirst often becomes weaker. In other words, an elderly person may already need water, but not feel especially thirsty. This is incredibly common. Many older adults say, "I'm not thirsty, so I must be fine." But that's not always true. In fact, one of the biggest concerns for older adults is that dehydration can develop quietly, without obvious warning signs at first. A person may feel tired, dizzy, weak, or have a dry mouth and assume it's simply age, blood pressure, fatigue, or the weather, when in reality, one major factor may be insufficient hydration. There's another common issue too. Many older adults intentionally drink less water. Sometimes they're worried about swelling, sometimes they don't want to wake up at night, sometimes they want to avoid frequent trips to the bathroom. These concerns are understandable, but drinking too little can often create bigger health problems than people realize. When the body doesn't get enough fluid, it can contribute to weakness, dizziness, constipation, fatigue, confusion, and in some cases, even increase the risk of falls, which can be especially dangerous for older individuals. Now, let me be very clear about something important. Water does not cure diabetes. It does not replace medication. It does not work like insulin. Drinking water alone won't suddenly fix blood sugar. But proper hydration helps the body function more effectively. When the body has enough water, the kidneys can work more efficiently, the risk of dehydration decreases, and the body is generally better supported in managing stress. So while water is not a treatment, it is an important part of supporting the body. Now let's talk about what to drink. For most people, the best option is simple: plain water, not sugary drinks, not soda, not sweet tea, not juice loaded with natural or added sugars. This is where many people get confused. Some assume juice is healthy simply because it contains fruit. Others think homemade sweet drinks are harmless because they aren't store-bought. But for someone with diabetes, even drinks that seem natural can significantly affect blood sugar. That's why the simpler the drink, the safer it often is. Plain water remains one of the best choices. Now, another important question: how should elderly people drink water? A very common mistake is drinking very little all day and then trying to catch up in the evening. That's usually not ideal. The body generally handles hydration better when fluids are consumed steadily throughout the day. A glass of water in the morning can be a helpful start since the body naturally loses moisture overnight. Then continuing with small amounts regularly during the day, between meals, after walking, during warm weather, can support a healthier balance. The key is consistency, not too little, not too much. And that brings us to another important point. More water is not always better. Some people hear about the benefits of hydration and think they should drink as much as possible. But excessive water intake can also be problematic, especially for people with heart conditions, kidney disease, or certain medical restrictions. So this is not about forcing huge amounts of water. It's about appropriate hydration for your body and your medical condition. That's why personal medical advice matters. Your doctor can help determine what's right for you. Hot weather is another major factor. During summer or in warm indoor environments, the body loses more water through sweat. For older adults with diabetes, this can increase dehydration risk even faster. And because symptoms can sometimes be subtle, hydration becomes even more important during heat. Sometimes people assume they feel weak because of blood sugar alone, when in fact dehydration may also be playing a role. Medications matter too. Some medicines, especially diuretics, can influence fluid balance. So if someone is taking medications that increase urination, water intake may require even more attention. I also want to speak directly to family members. If you have elderly parents, grandparents, or loved ones living with diabetes, caring for them isn't only about medication schedules and sugar checks. Sometimes something as simple as asking, "Have you had enough water today?" can make a real difference. Small habits can have a surprisingly big impact on health. So, what is the most important message I want you to remember today? Water is not a minor detail. It's not an afterthought. For older adults with diabetes, proper hydration is part of daily self-care. It can support well-being, reduce dehydration risk, and help the body function more effectively. Don't wait until intense thirst appears. Don't rely only on feeling thirsty. Don't replace water with sugary drinks. And don't assume that drinking less is always safer. Instead, think of water as one of the simple daily habits that supports better health. Because sometimes the most powerful health decisions are not the most complicated ones. Not every improvement comes from expensive treatments or major changes. Sometimes it starts with the basics: checking blood sugar, making thoughtful food choices, staying active, and simply drinking enough water. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Pay attention to your body. And remember, health is often built through simple, consistent daily habits. Now, I'd really love to hear from you. Do you or your loved ones pay attention to daily water intake? Have you noticed how hydration affects energy, blood sugar, or overall well-being? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience could help someone else. And if you found this video helpful, please support the channel by subscribing, liking this video, and sharing it with someone who may truly benefit from this information. Sometimes one simple habit can make a meaningful difference in quality of life. See you in the next video.